Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that takes years to build, but only seconds to break: trust. And more specifically, how just one lie can shatter a million moments of belief. Trust is the invisible thread that ties us to the people we love, work with, and depend on. It's what allows us to open up, take risks, and feel safe in our relationships. But here's the harsh truth. No matter how thick that thread may seem, one lie, just one, can cut through it like a knife. You see, lies are not just words. They're actions that tell someone you weren't worth the truth. And once that doubt creeps in, it spreads. Suddenly, every honest moment you shared is called into question. Was it all real? Were they pretending the whole time? That seed of mistrust grows until it overtakes everything that once felt solid. We lie for many reasons: fear, shame, pride, sometimes even with good intentions. But the outcome is often the same: broken trust, broken hearts, and broken connections. The problem isn't just the lie, it's the damage it causes, the way it echoes, and how it leaves scars in places we can't always see. So let's ask ourselves, is one lie worth losing a million truths? Is that moment of escape worth a lifetime of doubt? In our world today, where honesty is sometimes seen as weakness and manipulation is glorified as strategy, choosing truth becomes a revolutionary act. But it's an act we need now more than ever. Speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Because every truth you tell builds trust, and every lie chips it away. And once trust is lost, even the sincerest apology may not be enough to bring it back. Trust takes years to build, but can be destroyed in a moment by a single lie. Trust is not something that is handed out freely. It is earned patiently, consistently, and often over long periods of time. Every small act of honesty, every kept promise, every moment of vulnerability shared and respected contributes to the slow, steady growth of trust. It's like building a bridge, stone by stone. Each conversation, each commitment fulfilled, and each truth told, especially in difficult moments, adds another layer of strength to that bridge. But while it takes months or even years to build, it can all come crashing down in an instant with just one lie. Why is that? Because trust is fundamentally about safety and predictability. When we trust someone, we believe that they will act in our best interest, that their words match their actions, and that we can rely on them even when things get tough. A lie, no matter how small, undermines that belief. It injects uncertainty into what once felt stable. It introduces a crack in the foundation, making us question everything we thought we knew about the person or the relationship. What makes it worse is that trust isn't just about the present moment. It carries a history. When someone lies, it doesn't only damage that one situation. It causes us to revisit the past through a new lens. Were they honest with me back then? Did they ever truly mean what they said? That single lie doesn't just stand alone. It reshapes the narrative, casting doubt over countless previous interactions that once seemed sincere and trustworthy. The emotional impact of that realization can be devastating. People often feel betrayed, not only because of the lie itself, but because of the collapse of the entire structure they believed in. It's not just the truth that's been denied. It's the feeling of being safe, respected, and valued. That's why a single lie can undo the work of years. It's like watching a castle you built with care fall apart because of one loose stone that no one thought could cause real harm. And the more meaningful the relationship, the more profound the damage. When trust is broken by someone close, a friend, a partner, a parent, or a mentor, the hurt cuts deeper. It's not just about deception. It's about the loss of emotional security, the grief over what the relationship used to be, and the pain of trying to rebuild something that may never feel whole again. A lie is not simply the absence of truth. It is the presence of distortion, manipulation, and betrayal. When someone tells a lie, they don't just conceal facts, they fracture the emotional fabric that binds people together. The damage caused by a lie doesn't always show itself immediately. Instead, it often sinks deep into the mind and heart of the person who was deceived, gradually transforming how they perceive others, how they interpret events, and most painfully, how they view themselves. When trust is broken by a lie, it plants a seed of doubt. That seed may seem small at first, just a moment of confusion, or a question left unanswered. But over time, it begins to grow. It whispers silent questions like, "What else haven't they told me?" Or "Can I believe them now?" These questions evolve into a constant state of uncertainty, even paranoia. The lie doesn't stay in the past, it creeps into the present and distorts the future. Every word, every gesture, and every interaction becomes tinted with suspicion. This emotional erosion can affect more than just the relationship in which the lie occurred. Once someone has been lied to and hurt deeply, they may start to carry that emotional baggage into other relationships. They may struggle to trust others, even those who have done nothing wrong. This is one of the cruelest effects of dishonesty. It doesn't just harm one connection, it can ripple outward, contaminating a person's ability to trust more broadly, even within themselves. Moreover, lies can create deep internal conflict. A person who has been lied to may wrestle with the contradiction between what they thought they knew and what was actually true. This dissonance can lead to anxiety, confusion, and a breakdown of emotional stability. It can cause someone to second-guess their memory, judgment, and instincts. In extreme cases, it can even contribute to long-term psychological effects, such as low self-esteem or chronic trust issues. And yet the liar may often underestimate this damage. They may believe that a lie, especially a small or harmless one, is a momentary decision with limited consequences. But for the one being lied to, the impact can be profound and long-lasting. The hurt doesn't come solely from the falsehood, it comes from the realization that someone made a conscious choice to deceive, knowing it could cause harm. The emotional wound inflicted by a lie is often invisible to others, but for the person carrying it, it can feel just as real as any physical injury. And like physical wounds, emotional scars from betrayal don't always heal quickly or at all. What might begin as a single untruth can evolve into a web of pain, doubt, and emotional distance that takes months or even years to unravel. There's a common belief that some lies are harmless, especially if they are told with good intentions. People often lie to protect someone's feelings, to avoid conflict, or to delay uncomfortable truths. These are sometimes called white lies, and while they may seem innocent on the surface, their effects can be surprisingly damaging beneath. When someone tells a lie with the intention of doing good, they may feel justified. They may convince themselves that they're sparing someone pain, avoiding unnecessary worry, or preserving peace. But the reality is that a lie, even one told from a place of care, removes the other person's right to make informed decisions. It takes away their ability to respond authentically to a situation, because the reality they're being presented with is false. In relationships, honesty is the foundation that fosters true connection. Without it, people are left interacting with illusions, false versions of each other. When well-intended lies are uncovered, the person on the receiving end may feel not only betrayed, but also manipulated. They might ask themselves, "What else aren't they telling me? Or do they think I'm too fragile to handle the truth?" These feelings can lead to resentment, insecurity. Trust is one of the most fragile elements of any relationship. When it's intact, it creates a space of emotional safety, mutual respect, and unspoken understanding. But once broken, trust doesn't just snap, it shatters, often into pieces too small or too sharp to put back together cleanly. While apologies and changed behavior are important steps toward healing, the truth is that trust, once lost, may never be restored to its original form. The process of rebuilding trust is long, uncomfortable, and uncertain. It requires consistent honesty, accountability, and transparency from the person who broke it. It also demands a tremendous emotional effort from the person who was hurt, to forgive, to risk being vulnerable again, and to open themselves to the possibility of further disappointment. That is no small task. For many, the emotional cost of rebuilding is simply too high. Even when both parties are willing to try, things often don't return to the way they were. There may always be a lingering hesitation, a quiet voice of doubt in the back of the mind. Words may be met with skepticism, actions with scrutiny. The ease and freedom that once existed, the ability to speak, share, and connect without fear, can be replaced by cautiousness or emotional distance. The relationship might continue, but not without scars. What makes trust so difficult to repair is that it isn't just about the lie or betrayal itself, it's about the breach of belief. Trust is built on the assumption that the other person sees and values your emotional well-being. When that is violated, even by a single lie, the entire emotional contract of the relationship is called into question. People may start to question not only what was said, but who the other person truly is. That kind of uncertainty makes rebuilding incredibly complex. In many cases, trust is tied not just to actions, but to time. It takes consistent behavior over a prolonged period to even begin to restore what was lost. And even then, there's no guarantee. A person may forgive, but they may never fully forget. The lie becomes a permanent mark in the history of the relationship, a quiet reminder of what went wrong and what could go wrong again. The emotional resilience required to trust someone again after a betrayal is immense. And that's why, for many people, once trust is broken, the relationship changes forever. Even with reconciliation, even with apologies, something deep within the bond may never feel quite the same. In today's fast-paced and competitive world, honesty can feel like a vulnerable, even risky choice. We live in a society where appearances are often valued over authenticity, where image sometimes matters more than integrity, and where success is frequently measured by what can be gained, regardless of how it's achieved. In such an environment, deception is not only common, but sometimes rewarded. People lie to protect their reputations, gain an advantage, avoid consequences, or manipulate outcomes, and often they get away with it. Because of this, telling the truth isn't always easy. In fact, it can be one of the bravest things a person does. It takes courage to be honest, when the truth might disappoint someone, damage your image, or result in painful consequences. It takes strength to speak with integrity, in situations where silence or a small lie might be more convenient or profitable. Being truthful means choosing what is right over what is easy, especially when honesty might come with personal cost. In relationships, honesty is the foundation upon which emotional intimacy is built. But it is also the very thing that can test our ability to be vulnerable. It takes immense bravery to share your flaws, to admit mistakes, to confront difficult realities, and to reveal truths that could change how someone sees you. And yet that very openness is what deepens connection and fosters real trust. Honesty says, I respect you enough to be real with you, and in doing so, it creates space for mutual respect and understanding. Unfortunately, in many areas of life, whether it's in business, politics, social media, or personal relationships, there's pressure to present a filtered, edited, and carefully managed version of ourselves or our intentions. People lie to fit in, to impress, or to gain approval. And because these lies are so normalized, truthfulness can sometimes be seen as naive or even foolish. But in reality, honesty is not weakness. It is a form of moral strength. It reflects character, principle, and the willingness to live in alignment with one's values. Moreover, being honest is not just about speaking the truth to others. It's also about being honest with yourself. It means facing uncomfortable truths within, acknowledging when you're wrong, and resisting the urge to rationalize deceit. Self-honesty is the core of personal integrity, and without it, any external honesty becomes shallow or performative. In a world that often celebrates shortcuts and rewards dishonesty with temporary success, choosing to be honest becomes an act of quiet rebellion, one that upholds dignity, strengthens character, and builds the kind of trust that no amount of clever deception ever could. When faced with difficult situations, telling a lie can often feel like the easiest way out. It offers immediate relief, a quick fix, a way to dodge discomfort or confrontation. But that sense of escape is temporary, and it comes with a price. What lies offer in the short term, they steal in the long term. On the surface, deception might appear to solve a problem, but beneath it, it begins to corrode the integrity of relationships, self-respect, and personal growth. Choosing the truth, especially when it's hard, is a decision rooted in long-term thinking. It's an act of patience and maturity. Telling the truth doesn't always feel good in the moment. It may lead to tension, conflict, or disappointment. It may require you to own up to mistakes, admit vulnerability, or face consequences you'd rather avoid. But what it does is preserve your credibility, reinforce your integrity, and plant the seeds for deeper, more resilient relationships. When you choose truth over a lie, you are building a foundation that can bear weight over time. Relationships grounded in truth, even uncomfortable truth, are stronger because they are real. They can withstand pressure because they aren't built on illusions. They can bend without breaking. Lies, on the other hand, are fragile. They require maintenance. One lie often leads to another to cover the first, and the more you lie, the more complex the web becomes. Eventually that web collapses, taking trust, respect, and connection down with it. Beyond relationships, the choice between truth and lies is also about personal strength. It's about what kind of person you choose to be. Telling the truth cultivates courage and character. It teaches accountability, discipline, and emotional resilience. You learn to face problems head-on instead of avoiding them. You learn to take responsibility for your actions, and in doing so you grow. The strength that comes from honesty is not loud or flashy. It's quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It shows up in your consistency, in the way people come to rely on your word, and in the confidence that grows from knowing you have nothing to hide. It's the strength that allows you to sleep with a clear conscience, to stand firm in your values, and to form connections that are genuine and lasting. Lies may feel like shortcuts, but truth is the only path that leads somewhere real. Choosing honesty means you're investing in something far greater than the convenience of the moment. You're investing in your future, your relationships, and your own moral foundation. In the end, trust is the most valuable currency we have in our relationships, with others and with ourselves. It cannot be bought, it must be earned, and once broken, it may never return in the same form. A single lie, no matter how small it seems, has the power to undo years of truth, care, and connection. That is why honesty should never be treated as optional. It is the heart of respect, the root of love, and the core of character. So let us choose truth, even when it's hard. Let us speak with integrity, act with sincerity, and remember that while lies may offer a moment of escape, only the truth builds something that lasts. Because in the quiet moments, when all the noise fades, what remains is who we are, and who we chose to be when it mattered most. Thank you.